This review will take a look at the Andrew Golota-Riddick Bowe fight. It's quite a contest, and many people felt it was the end of the line for Riddick Bowe. And here's kind of a review of it. I'll try to get everything here in a quick capacity. One moment, please.
In this case, it's worth noting, memorable need not mean great fight. What made this Madison Square Garden night unforgettable was something totally unforeseen. A moment when a volatile mix of circumstances in and out of the ring lit a match and touched off an explosion. This ring has been stormed by thugs and hooligans. Impossible to imagine what's going to be done to restore order here, but right now there are no police in sight.
Chaos. A riot at Madison Square Garden on July 11, 1996. It came on the heels of a beating suffered by Riddick Bowe in his hometown. It came after Andrew Golota was disqualified for fouling. It was a short, steep fall from grace for the man who just 4 years earlier defeated Evander Holyfield for the title.
And new heavyweight champion of the world, Riddick Big Daddy Bowe!
In 3 epic bouts with Holyfield, the Brownsville, Brooklyn native was willing to take punishment to become a giant among giants.
I've had some great ones, Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, Larry Holmes. And I said, you have potential to become the greatest heavyweight I ever had. And that's saying a whole lot.
He was long, he was strong, he could move. He could also fight inside, which was peculiar for such a big guy. He had a great uppercut. He had all the physical tools.
What Bowe didn't have was the same
And let me speed things up a bit and get a little information of Golota. One moment, please.
city with the largest Polish population outside of Warsaw.
He was involved in brawl in a bar, supposedly gun involved, and he was afraid he will go to jail. He basically escaped from Poland.
Chicago was a place where Andrew Golota could find, friends, where he could find some employment or some kind of support.
When he came to the States, he said, my boxing career is over. I want to be a truck driver. And this was his dream, just to have an 18-wheeler and just go to Arizona.
And let me advance this a bit. And quite an ominous night here.
I do what I have to do to win.
When we walk into the arena, first thing I noticed was I didn't notice police officers. I didn't see NYPD.
The crowd was much more frenzied than I expected for a fight most people in boxing had very little expectations of.
Boxing has always been an ethnic-oriented sport. There had been no Polish serious heavyweight in the memory of man, and here he was, and his supporters stood and roared.
Brownsville people had a problem with the white people from Poland. The people from Brownsville didn't like the red and white flags being flown in their faces.
Almost half of the stadium were Polak, and they had flags, and they were ready to fight before the fight started.
People don't need to wear jerseys. When one fighter is white and Polish and the other fighter is black and from Brownsville.
Harold, what comes next?
Jim, the thing that comes next, without question, is a disqualification. I mean, I don't know how much of this Wayne Kelly's going to put up with.
It just seemed unfathomable that he was going to give away this easy victory, but you had to observe the inevitability that it was probably going to happen.
I looked him right in the eyes and I said, Andrew, if you hit him low one more time, it's over. Do you understand that? And he said, yes, I do. Walked out there, hit him low.
That was another low blow. Down goes Bowe, and that's it.
That's it. Great.
It's a disqualification.
It's time for someone to understand.
And Golota was outboxing Bowe, but he hit him low so many times they had to stop the fight. And then here's the big riot.
Get back. Go back where your seat is on. Get back.
My microphone got knocked off my head.
Don't do it, son. Don't do
There's
that.
danger all over the place here. This is a very desperate situation. Lou Duke is in trouble. Lou Duke is in trouble on the ring mat.
When he was on the ground, he was getting kicked.
He was getting punched. 70-year-old man, he was helpless.
First thing I thought is, oh my God, Lou's died in there, right in the middle of all this craziness in the ring. But he clearly wasn't conscious.
Duba's being taken out on a gurney right now, and stormed by thugs and hooligans. Obviously, emotions were flowing high on both sides.
You expect that in a matter of a minute or two, the powers that be are going to get it organized and cleared up. Well, there were no powers that be, were there?
What was the desire of Madison Square Garden?
And, let's see.
Been battered. A rematch would be big. It was set for 5 months later in Atlantic City. This time, Galata's trainers concentrated on Bo's belt line.
So the punches are going to be coming up here. They're going to be hitting him on the chin. They're going to be hitting him in the chest. They're going to be hitting him in the body. They're going to hit me there. Over here, we've taught Andrew to keep away. This is a no zone over here.
Bo, dedicated now, shed 50 pounds in 8 weeks and appeared to be in championship form.
And
All
here's
the courage
actually
that Riddick had shown
here's actually the rematch. Unfortunately, it was kind of a replay of the first one.
against Holyfield in the first fight. Here it was again, as he was taking ridiculous punishment all around the ring from pillar to post, sometimes landing back.
Riddick Bowe fighting with a nothing-to-lose attitude now. And Galata stumbles. Andrew Galata's never been knocked down, but he will be in a few seconds.
After losing a point for intentional headbutting, Galata lost control of himself and his punches again in the fourth.
Low blows by Galata, and Eddie Cotton will pull him away.
That's the first warning for low blows. All right, look.
And more low blows were thrown, and I think here's the ending.
Galata received another warning in the 6th round.
And now Eddie Cotton's going to warn Galata for rabbit punching.
Late in the 9th round, he went back to it again. And the last 2 was a combination way below the belt.
Low blows, and down goes Bowe again.
Yeah, that's it. He's caught.
And that ended the fight, and here's some additional information.
Yourself. And then he didn't want to know nothing. He pushed me away.
Whatever demon it was that forced Andrew Galata to do those things in the ring, he couldn't stop it. He had no control.
Currently, Galata lives in Chicago and is facing criminal charges for a melee outside a hotel in Poland in November of 2002. For Bo, who took way too many clean blows in big fights, his days as a fighter were also over.
His reflexes and responses weren't quite what I would have expected, especially somebody that's 28 years old.
If you look at Riddick's speech pattern from the Holyfield Bowe era,
You underestimate my stamina, my punching power. You know, Bert Cooper knocked Evander Fell in the ropes. I knocked him down.
to the Bowe Galata era, it's totally different.
I mean, you gotta look at it like this many times, man. Galata's somewhat, you know, fresh. He hasn't had as many fights, so therefore he don't get his time. But as soon as fatigue set in a little bit, that's when he started hitting me low.
One of the major...
And it looks as though Bo, these 2 bouts really kind of did him in. That's the basic chit-chat amongst people, boxing insiders. And Galata never captured a title, although he challenged for one in the latter part of his career. And let's see, I guess that should do it. And here's a little more information.
He would be a civilian again just 3 days later.
I didn't expect the drill instructors to give me such a hard time.
Returning to civilian life wasn't easy for Bo. A string of domestic disputes resulted in a separation from his wife, Judy.
She left and...
Holyfield just 4 years before. Bowe fought with extraordinary courage, even as his career was vanishing round by round. Andrew Galata was just the latest of many to prove you need more than physical talent to become a boxing champion. Thanks for watching.
And let's see.
In November of 2002.
That should do it. That's kind of a quick look at Bo Galata 1 and Bo Galata 2. And hopefully I was able to get everything in here. If you remember those fights, this is a quick flashback. If you're hearing about it for the first time, hopefully I was able to get enough information for a good solid review. And that'll do it. Let me get a final screen on here.